This is Chargers Now presented by Prize Picks. I am your host, Will Ortner, and on Thursday, we had a company-wide mock draft here at Chat Sports. If you were not able to join us, that's a bummer. My guy Hammy, the hamster, or whatever his name is, he joined us, so it was nice to see him. I was drafting for the Los Angeles Chargers, and I think that I did a pretty darn good job of doing my best impersonation of General Manager Joe Ortiz. Now, the Chargers, there were no big trades for us to make, so we are going to stand pat in our picks. But I'm telling you right now, I think we came away with some good quality players that are going to help this LA roster. If you think that I can do a great job going into the draft, you give me that thumbs up button down below in the comment section. You hit it once, that's great. You hit it twice, well, then that means you have to hit it a third time. Unfortunately, you can't double thumbs up a YouTube video. Right now, the Los Angeles Chargers have 5 picks, one in the first, second, third, and fourth round, and then in the 6th round. So you have 3 picks in the top 90. That's going to be very important. Who are the Chargers going to be able to go after and get? Now, unfortunately, before I was able to make my pick at 22, there was someone else who came in and took Vega Ioane. So I did have to pivot rather quickly, and I do think I got a halfway decent player for this team. Now, edge rusher TJ Parker at pick number 22 might be a bit early for some, but I'm telling you right now, I think that Parker has an opportunity to grow into being an all-time elite pass rusher in the National Football League. Parker is a fantastic run defender right now, and that is what you want in a Chris O'Leary style of defense. Because remember, he is a disciple of Jesse Minter, who is a disciple of Mike Macdonald, the head coach for the Seattle Seahawks. And what does Mike Macdonald want in his edge rushers? He wants run defenders first who play the pass second. They shut down the run, force other teams to throw, and that's when they start getting all maniacal with the twists and stunts that they use. Parker has a ton of power and can use his length and leverage to get into the backfield. Now, he does have to develop some more pass rush moves, but those are things that he can learn playing behind, well, Khalil Mack. He'd be an excellent person to learn from. Dane Brugler had this to say in The Beast on TJ Parker. Parker is still learning how to unlock counter maneuvers, but he offers a reliable foundation built on leveraged power and a consistent motor that helps him make plays as a rusher and a run defender. He projects as a solid NFL starter, similar to Jabal Shurd. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name. The testing numbers right now for Parker, look, that get off, that 1.61 is incredibly fast. Now, there are going to be some guys who run even faster than a 4.68 40. I'm telling you, it's faster than most people realize, especially for the size that you're getting out of Parker. Now, you do have to remember that last year was a disappointment for him. Last year was a disappointment for every frickin' player at Clemson. So I'm not going to completely fault him for that. Now, of course, he takes a slight downturn. But remember, the pressure numbers are essentially the same. It's just the TFL and sack numbers that go down a little bit for him. I'm telling you, I like TJ Parker, and I like him a lot, especially if Vega Ioane is not there and you're not able to trade back. I have a couple of reasons why I think the Chargers should take Parker, but before I do that, I need to let you know that today's show is made possible by our good friends over at Prize Picks. The playoffs are here for basketball. Baseball is just getting underway, and it's time to cash in with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app and is the best place to win cash while watching sports. To qualify for a Prize Picks lineup, pick 2 to 6 players and select more or less on stat projections for them, including points, rebounds, assists. If you're more of a baseball guy or gal, you can choose stats such as hits, home runs, and strikeouts, or whatever stat is in the sport that you enjoy. With the new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups with a single click. That includes myself and producer Searle. You follow us on Prize Picks, you're going to get the picks before they even get posted on the show. I have a lineup for the action going on in basketball. Denny Advia, more on his points, rebounds, and assists. Victor Wembanyama, more on his double-double. That's a demon play, by the way. New user offer. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with Prize Picks. The link to download the app is going to be in the comments and description of today's video. Why Parker is pretty simple. Vega Ioane was already off the board. He'd already been drafted. Guard is the biggest need that the Chargers have, and he would have been the player that I desperately wanted. Chargers, they also need an edge rusher with Taaffe S leaving in free agency, and TJ Parker was the highest rated edge rusher there that fit into this system. When we look at that edge rusher unit right now, Thule obviously is going to be the guy that everyone is the most excited about. But Khalil Mack is no slouch, and I want Parker to learn from Khalil Mack. He can be right underneath him, and he can very easily take over for Khalil Mack once he ends up retiring, because we do know that that is going to come very soon. Next, second round pick. This is where maybe I got a little bit off the board. Maybe I went a little bit interesting, but too many of the big name guards were already gone. So I went wide receiver here, and I went after wide receiver Chris Bell out of Louisville. Now, why did I do this? Because he is a player that if he doesn't get injured, he's probably a player that is going in the first round. So a ton of talent, and we're getting him at a cheaper price. He is going to mainly be an outside wide receiver, but I'm telling you right now, he is someone that is elite when it comes to catching the football. But don't just take my word for it. Let's look at what Dane Brugler has to say. Bell is still rough around the edges in several areas, but he is big, strong, and explosive. And it is hard to find those guys, especially with Bell's receiving talent. An ACL injury complicates his draft grade, but he earned an NFL starter projection when healthy. Now, for me, when I look at the career that Bell has had, that is a player to me that is going to stand out above the rest. That is a player that if he comes into this system and he comes to the Los Angeles Chargers, I think that he can continue to grow. Now, the question is how is he going to handle that injury? I think that he can handle that ACL injury with spades and end up becoming a favorite target for Justin Herbert. It's also important to mention that when I made this pick, this is before General Manager Joe Ortiz had his press conference about Quentin Johnston. Well, what I'll say is this. If the Chargers do decide to keep Quentin Johnston, there's still a use for Bell because you can use Trey Harris and you can use Ladd McConkey more so in the slots, and now you have your big, talented outside threats at wide receiver. Also, if the Chargers do not give that extension to Quentin Johnston, then he's probably going to leave in free agency. And even if they do give the extension to him, there's no guarantee that they keep him after that fifth year. I just think there's a need at wide receiver for this Chargers team, and it would be an excellent move for them. Are you excited for the NFL draft? Feels like the excitement is a little lackluster right now. Very interesting to say the least. If you're interested, let me know with a yes. If you're not interested, let me know with a no in the comment section. Next, let's look at that third round pick, and this is finally where we get to the offensive line. And I know he's closing his eyes, but there's no reason for you to close your eyes on the great Jalen Farmer. He's an excellent offensive guard and someone that I debated taking in the second round, but I knew that I would be able to get him a little bit later. He's someone that is very strong. He's very powerful. He's someone that at times can be a little bit tall in his stance. Doesn't matter in Mike McDaniel's type of system. You're going to be moving, running around, and so being root hog or die type of a player is definitely something that isn't going to be as necessary for this team and for this scheme. I believe that he'll develop as a pass protector as well. Don't take my word for it. Here's what Brugler had to say. Farmer is an athletic boulder in pass protection and a bulldozer as a run blocker. He should continue to ascend with pro coaching. He has NFL starting caliber ability, especially if he lands with a team that specializes in downhill smash mouth run game. I know that's not exactly what Mike McDaniel necessarily wants to do. He's still going to be able to have success, I believe. He's an excellent sprinter. Running a 4.93 is very, very fast for an offensive lineman. Jumping, not super great. Guess what? I don't need my O-lineman to effing jump. I need my O-lineman to make other people jump when they put their hands on them. I used to have an offensive line coach that said, my hands are the jumper cables. And when I strike you, I want you to jump. I completely agree with that. And we also already know from general manager Joe Ortiz that there is a plan with the offensive line, right? ESPN's Chris Rim ended up putting out this tweet that took the quote from Ortiz. We're not done on that offensive line. I can promise you that. This is my way of showing that we are not done on the offensive line. Because when I look at that guard position, it's weak as hell. Now, obviously, there's been a clear upgrade at that center position. There is a clear upgrade at the two tackle spots just because you're getting Slater and Alt back healthy. But the guard spots, barely an upgrade for Cole Strange and Trevor Penning. I don't know if that's a great idea. Now, in my personal opinion, this is a good pivot for the Chargers if there is a situation where guys like Emmanuel Pregnon, Chase Besantis, and others get drafted very early, and the Chargers end up having to pivot away from them. I don't feel a need to have to trade up if I'm the Los Angeles Chargers. In fact, I don't see a world where they do. So just trust that the right players will fall back to you. When we go to day 3 of the NFL draft, that's where I think the Chargers end up getting Michael Taaffe, the safety out of Texas. Now, what's interesting here, and I understand where some people are coming from, in a safety deep class, it might have made more sense for the Chargers to maybe go after an Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, who is on the board in the first round. My personal opinion, maybe I'm falling a little bit too in love with TJ Parker. I just felt like he was someone that had to be snagged. I look at a guy like Michael Taaffe, a lot of success that he had at the University of Texas. Remember, he's going up against SEC talent. He's going up against SEC competition. He's good at tackling the ball carrier. He's good at getting TFLs. He's a great coverage guy, and he knows when to go for an interception. Now, I understand that this might be a bit of a reach here, and there are some people that say, Will, you should draft for best available. But when I look at Taaffe, he was in a position where you either had to draft him way too early or he wasn't going to be on the board late. In my personal opinion, if this is how it falls, I want a guy who can be a veteran leader like him. Last, we go with Nick Barrett, pick number 232. He's an interior defensive lineman from the University of South Carolina. Obviously, there's an interior defensive lineman need, and this would be if the Chargers decide to not go and trade for Dexter Lawrence. Although I do think that Dexter Lawrence trade is going to be coming. The question is what team will make it. When I look at Barrett, he has a decent amount of success last season when it comes to getting after the quarterback from the interior defensive line, as well as making a lot of tackles. Now, last year was the first year that he really had any big playing time for the South Carolina team, the Gamecocks. Shout out the Cox. This was really the first season that we saw him get a lot of run. So to me, that's a guy that he's only going to get better the more that he plays. He's got high upside, and he's not someone that this team needs right away. He is someone that can come in, learn under Dalvin Tomlinson, learn under Tart, learn under Caldwell, and slowly grow into a replacement for a couple of the older ones. He is a player that if he doesn't pan out, oh well, 6-rounders don't pan out all the time. But he's definitely the best player available in the position that the Chargers need last there. Grade my mock draft down below in the comment section. I gave myself an A++++. Let me know what your opinion is down below in the comment section. Very interested to see what Bolt Nation has to say about me. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button on today's video. Whether you liked my mock draft or didn't, you love the Los Angeles Chargers. And that's the best reason to like these YouTube videos. Anyways, if you made it to the end and you haven't subscribed, do so now, please. I know I sound like I smoked a pack of Marlboro Reds, but I promise you that I normally have a much cheerier voice. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Make sure you bolt up.